Hello there, friends. Duke of Haze here. Thank you once again for allowing me in your homes. This is currently editing Duke. It's April 1st, 2025. And from this point forward, I'm going to be a salty Sam in regards to Monster Hunter Iceborne. So I hope you can forgive the rage. Um, this was still my first playthrough, and it was not a fun time. So hope you can forgive. I get slightly better in subsequent playthroughs, but yeah. Please consider subbing. I think like 90% or something like that is not subbed every time they come to watch my videos. So if you like my weird style, I'd greatly appreciate a sub for that. Thank you. I'm sorry I didn't get the whole thing. Like I said, I didn't know when I was going to kill him. It was just attempt after attempt after attempt where I would get super close and just at the last second I probably could have captured him many different times, but if I die like one time if I die one time, then I just restart because I feel like okay, I have to get to the point where I don't, if I die and use my res, that's one thing, but I can not continue to take damage like this. So I would always restart a mission to learn attack patterns. So that's why I restart usually, is because I have to get better, right? Like that's my way of thinking. Here's the Brachydios capture. Again, my cam is covered up. I could have turned off the camera in general. But we got the Tigrix. It was really annoying. Brachydios was, in all honesty, not as bad as Tigrex in my opinion, just because he's a bigger enemy and his attacks are easier to dodge. Like, Tigrex attacks so much, and his attacks are so fast, and he attacks for so long. Like, what I'm saying is, like, he'll start an attack and then continually attack. Like, you barely get any windows of opportunity for a counter attack. With Brachydios, because he's big and lumbering, like, yeah, he puts his snot on the ground that's really gross, but, like, I don't know, I have a better time fighting big lumbering enemies because my weapon is big and lumbering, as opposed to fast attacking quick enemies, because they're harder for me to deal with. Instead of going, full force, I have to like sit there, get two attacks in, back off, wait for him to stop attacking, go back in, two more attacks, rinse, repeat for 30 minutes, because like I said, every fight takes 30 minutes. It's insane. I'm going to speed it up now, but I did this off camera yesterday, off stream. I recorded it just because it's like, okay, I'm going to get the footage for this, because if I'm going to upload this to YouTube, like, I need to have the footage. So I just used OBS to start recording, and this is my raw recording. This is me looking at all the different weapons. Again, this is post commentary. I don't normally do post commentary. I usually do live commentary just because my style is mainly stream of consciousness, but it's me taking a look at what opened up and then realizing that I'm not interested in making Tigrex armor just because it doesn't have the skills I want personally. So we're off to Brachydios, who is in the Elder's Recess. Not as bad as I would have thought. Like, I looked at the reviews specifically for Iceborne because the base game was awesome. Like, I loved it. Like, I was saying during like yesterday's stream, like, where did all of, like, Genojiva was awesome, Ned Gigante was annoying, Teastra was annoying, Kushala Daura was kind of a joke, but he was cool looking. Like, the fights weren't so punishing that one mistake means you die, or not so punish. I don't know. It's, a lot of people seem to also share the same opinion, but it's 50-50, so it's currently mixed on Steam. Because, yeah, the difficulty spike is just insane. It really, really is. You start off with Banbaro and Giratidos, it's like, oh yeah, this is okay, this is cool. And then, boom, you get hit with Barioth, and that dude was, he was something else altogether, man. But yeah, this is the cutscene. I slowed it down so that we could see the unsped up footage. Dude has snot that blows up. It's quite crazy. Oh yeah, you wouldn't see that my camera's off, I guess, because this camera's covering it. But if I were to do this where I hide my current cam, you can see that it's pretty much the same, except I put a towel over it just because you never know if someone is able to look through your webcam. Who knows what sorts of things I could be doing. So that's why I put a towel over it once I'm done streaming. So, but mic was off, headphones were off. It was just me able to concentrate as best as I could to defeat these boss enemies. They're kind of like bosses. Like every single enemy that you encounter in Iceborne feels like a boss fight, man. And then having to go back and fight more powerful versions of the dudes you're used to fighting, like every single optional encounter has a there's two enemies that you're fighting in a lot of the optional quests. Like Rathalos, Rathian's always there. So you have to do that quest in such a way that you pull Rathalos away from Rathian, because they meet in a lot of different areas in the ancient forest. More specifically, that area towards the top where there's a wide open area. So I had to figure out how to get him away from her, because at first I tried taking her down so I could go and capture him, but it takes just as long to fight her, so I would have run out of time. But I'll talk more about this fight. I realize that talking about other fights during this fight is not such a good idea. But yeah, this is going to be sped up, unfortunately. I will, for anybody who wants the options of a slowed down, well, you gotta let me know in the comments, and someone, you have to participate in the YouTube game and let me know that you want a non-sped up version of this fight. But because I'm watching this on stream, I have to speed it up. But like, yeah, I didn't think this guy was nearly as bad as Tigrex was. And here, instead of like cashing out my melodies, you'll see this on today's episode that I upload on YouTube, where I'm constantly cashing out my melodies, and it's, in my opinion, a damage reduction overall, because a damage loss overall, because the attack animation for cashing your melodies out is way slow. Like the first initial hit comes out fast, but then your dude has to dance, and the dance part takes a while. Like you can cancel that animation, but if you want, you got to do it just when you feel the controller rumble, so that you can roll, dodge, cancel the rest of the animation. It's a whole to do. So now I just spam B, because if I constantly spam Y, it'll queue up the attack up, deflect, attack prevention melody. So I just go in there, get a hit when I can, roll back, rinse, repeat. That's what all these fights boil down to, essentially. I'm trying to get into the habit of like buffing. Each time I get a break from the fight, I use that time to reapply my major buffs, the attack prevention, the speed, evasion buff, and earplugs, because I have a stun res set instead of an earplug set on my armor. And I didn't know this guy did blast damage, or else I would have put my blast resistant set of armor on. But I went in this, like, this is me completely blind fighting this guy. And I don't know, not to toot my own horn, I was glad that I was able to beat him on my first try. I don't know if my res gets used up, but I don't remember anyway. I want to say it does. I want to say I do die. Well, you get rezzed, because your little Palicos buddy can bring you back one time per quest. But it was not as bad. I read, because I was like, okay, because someone had made a comment on the Iceborne review section on Steam that said, you know, end game stuff is borderline impossible to do by yourself. If you enraged Brachydios is really something to behold. And yeah, if you get hit by his stuff, I imagine it's quite bad. But like I say, I play hella cautious, and I use, like, you have to basically use everything at your disposal. Like, you have to use the little frogs that are on the ground to give yourself any advantage you can. Like, I try my best to use the blast frogs to hit at dudes with, the paralyzed frogs. I'm less stingy with my that's me getting hit by blast blight, because again, I didn't bring the fire cape. I didn't know what to expect. So, and if I had my blast res set on, I'd be immune to blast blight, but I didn't, unfortunately. Again, I didn't know what to expect. I just wanted to do the fight for the first time, trying to get an idea, a feel for it, and I was actually able to do it. So yeah, see how there's always another thing that you have to deal with, like Azur, Rathalos, except this time I do my best to try to like get one of them in between me and the other guy so that I can take advantage of the fact that they're hitting each other. As someone who had to fight a lot of Rathalos and Rathian, I'm like super used to their attack patterns, although I haven't fought Azur Rathalos like in a hot minute. I'll have to check what the optional quests are, because as soon as I finished Brachydios, I kind of wanted to like finish Iceborne already, because I feel like playing other weapons, like I'm more excited for playing with other weapons and making different characters than I am for like these fights in the Iceborne story. Because so far the story is like, I don't know, man, like it's weird that I'm supposed to be attached to these characters that I, outside of like the little moments you get of them talking to you and stuff, most of the time it's you by yourself or with other players, but in my case it's me by myself out in the world, hunting monsters, gathering herbs, doing ecological research. So, you know, whenever I'm here and all of a sudden the tracker, that lady that I vaguely remember her, she was in Rotten Vale, and then I think maybe she shows up in Elder's Recess. For sure, I remember her in Rotten Vale. And then, not much after that. And then in Iceborne, she's like one of the focal points. She's like, you know, she's looking for the first fleet that didn't come back from their first mission, and they're wondering why. And she's like, hey, you were always one step ahead of me, which makes me think that maybe she was kind of into the grandfather, maybe secret grandmother. It's probably not going to be the case, just because, you know, that would actually be interesting. Not to throw shade at the story, but like the game mechanics are good enough to the point where like story, like I don't mind too much that the story is whatever. It's just in something like Iceborne, when the story is like being not even spoon fed, it's just like forced on you, like all of a sudden, like suddenly it's this. Suddenly it's like, oh yeah, I came to the new world because my grandpa something blah blah blah, he gave me this shard, and it's like, okay, but it's vaguely talked about, like it's barely talked about. The whole thing that your handler specifically is here in the new world because her grandfather gave her a stone from the first fleet's failed mission, and she wanted to, you know, fill out her monster book. That's pretty much it. She's like Professor Oak. She wants to fill out her Pokedex to complete her grandpa's mission. And then in Iceborne, it's like, I don't know, man. It's like, oh no, not the tracker. That's kind of a spoiler, but she doesn't die. She just gets injured. I don't think anybody dies in this game, which is nice. But again, like, you don't really feel that feeling of loss to a character you had no attachment to. I know that's sounds obvious when you say that, but like talking to the tracker a couple of times doesn't endear me to them, right? Like usually, like I said, the one time that a character death was done right was in Tales of the Abyss. This is a spoiler for Tales of the Abyss right here, so you might want to mute or whatever to shield yourself from the spoilers. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's a character in Tales of the Abyss called Ion who is with you from the beginning of the game, and towards like 75% into the game, he dies. He sacrifices himself for one of your party members, and that was a hard-hitting death, and that's how it should be done. Same thing with, like, again, this is spoilers, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Luke, at a major focal point in that game's story, is choosing to sacrifice himself for the better of the world. And he's only 17. I don't like his character traits a lot of the time, but asking a 17-year-old to deal with mortality and being a martyr is like insanity, so that always tugs at my heartstrings and makes me tear up every single time that scene happens. It's a really good game. I highly recommend Tales of the Abyss. But back to this. I know I'm talking about stuff that is not related to this, but these fights take 30 minutes, dude, and it's just me repeating the same patterns over and over. It's just me going in, getting off a couple of hits, going back, rinse, repeat. That's what these fights have devolved into. Instead of me thinking like, ooh, this is really cool, like, ooh, Geno Shiva, like all of the life energy is pulling up here in the Everstream, and it birthed this weird, like, amoebic dragon that you can kind of see through. It's really weird and gross, but also cool and, like, not gross at the same time, because I think dragons are cool. And the fight with him is fun. It's not so punishing that you regret fighting him. Like, his attacks are well choreographed, and so if you fail, it's on you to fail. The game wasn't, like, trying to make you fail. In Iceborne, it's the complete opposite. Like, I cannot express, like, how many times during the Tigrex fight that we did on stream where I was was in the zone, dodging left and right, not getting in, not getting hit. That's redundant, but dodging left and right, getting my 2 hits in, backing off, avoiding damage, not using my res super early in the fights. And the fights last so long because these enemies have so much HP that after a while, like, I get mentally tired. It's like, okay, I'm getting like tired of having to do this over and over and over. And so I think that has a lot to do with it, just because like every fight now takes like 30 minutes. I think maybe like I was able to kill Barrioth in 23 minutes once, and that was it. And well, I captured one because I had to capture a couple of them off stream because I wanted to make his armor set, because it's basically the two-piece buff that the high rank Otagon armor gives you. It's called Punishing Draw, which just adds increased damage to whenever you first draw your weapon. And I pair that with Critical Draw, which gives you like 60%. I have rank 2, so it gives me 60% crit every single time I draw my weapon to hit a monster with it. So that's the combo I'm using. It appealed to me. Outside of giving myself elemental resistances when I need them, like I have a fire res set, an ice res set, blast res, I have poison res, just because the Iceborne makes you min-max like an MFer. So it's like, okay, if I'm gonna be fighting Rathian or Rathalos, I need rank 3 antidote so that I don't get poisoned by them, because they poison you all the time. Because even like, I'm not perfect at dodging every single move, but you might dodge their moves like 85% of the time. But the 15% times that they hit you, the 15 times they hit you out of 100, I should say, you get like deadly poisoned. And it's like, okay, now I gotta step away from the fight, find an opening to eat an herbal medicine, and the AI is hyper aggressive in Iceborne. Like, they're always attacking. Like, legit, you get maybe one window window of opportunity. Excuse me. You get one window of opportunity like every 7 attacks. Like, there was an attack string from one of the Tigris fights that we did yesterday or the day before yesterday, where the dude legit attacked like 9 rows in a time before he stopped. And also, that was BS. I was pretty sure he was gonna hit the wall there, so I was hella annoyed that, like, he was able to skirt past the wall like that. But that's another thing. You legit have to, I don't want to say have to, but you really should consider starting every single fight with a burst shot into a wall combo if it's possible for you. Like, Tigrex, every single attempt following stream anyway, and I think most of the ones on stream too, started with a burst shot into a wall combo to like get as much damage off on him as possible. So much so that like he went from phase 1 to phase 3. Maybe it's not necessarily phases, but that's the closest analog I have to this is like World of Warcraft raid bosses, except these are solo bosses, where you fight a boss for a bit, you get them to a certain amount of HP, they stop, and they do something else. That's not exactly 100% true in WoW. Like, maybe you might get a cutscene, maybe you might get a new set of attacks. It's kind of similar in this, except that usually happens when they're enraged, I feel like. Like, there I noticed, like, oh man, he's actually close to dying. Like, so I ran away from Rathalos so that I could make sure to capture this dude, because I'm like, oh man, I was actually able to do it. And there I was just waiting patiently because I know eventually he's gonna come. And then Shia Kazin, ooh, just nutty. Like, how long did it take me? I was doing a little bit of, just waiting the clock out, doing some bowing to the camera. 33 minutes. And that was me, I think, playing optimally, so I didn't die, which is cool. That's always fun, to not die. And you have to fight another one, too, as part of an optional quest. I think I have that right now. I don't know if we're gonna do it on stream, just because, yeah. Welcome back, I'm glad you're in one piece. Oh, I think it's me stopping the recording, so that's that. Again, I did a lot of this stuff off camera just because, I forgot to hit record. That's why I'm like in front of my room. But basically he tells you, okay, we have Velkhana's location, it's an Elder's Recess, and we need you to give us enough time to prepare for the actual fight. And this is just me taking care of all of my other chores. It's not really chores, but taking care of my other farms. Like, it's me, okay, Like I send the tail raiders off to get me the Calby horns. So just because I don't want to have to go and grind them myself, and Calby horns are needed to make ancient potions. I don't use ancient potions that often, but if I chose to keep going instead of like abandoning the quest every time, excuse me, then I would have to use an ancient potion to max out my stamina and health bars, because the longer you're on a quest, the less each time you go to eat like does anything for you. Like the very first time in town, it gives you like a plus 50 buff to HP, stamina, whatever random buffs the food has on it, and it also gives your Palicos 20 HP. And then maybe the next time, if I'm lucky, the Chef Choice platter will be available again, except this time it'll give me 25 HP and 50 stamina, and my Palicos like 12 HP. Like it goes down by like, what is that in terms of percentage? 20%? Yeah, because if... So 24 goes, yeah, it would be 40%, sorry. Yes, no, yes, maybe, yes. Yes, because 10% of 20 is 2, so double that, that's 20, and double that again is 40%. So this is me looking at what items options have opened up after fighting Brachydios, and it's mostly blast weapons. I don't know if blast weapons are good. Not a lot of stuff is weak to blast, and like I said, I'm kind of shoehorned into using a weapon that has earplugs rank 5 on it just because it's, I don't know, really valuable. Otherwise I'd have to make a whole new set with earplugs on it, and who knows how that would be. I'll slow this back down.
Before I left, my grandfather gave me this shard. I think he brought it back from the New World. Yeah, I know. The rules say take nothing back. But still, he wanted me to... Partner, tell me, why do you think people leave their homes, and also their loved ones, knowing that they may never make it back home?
I don't know, man. What kind of question is that?
I wonder what my grandfather was thinking, bringing this thing back with him. He was a carefree man, but he took researching this very seriously. In the end, he never did find out what it was. Why did he bring it back with him? Why me?
Those hand textures, though.
He was thinking, she'll get the job done. 40 years ago, their expedition failed. So they left it to the next generation, hoping we'll succeed. And now we're here because someone believed in us. So you know what? We won't fail. I know it. Let's get you ready, partner. There's still work to do.
Like, see what I mean about feeling like this came out of nowhere? Like, if you look at the base game, it feels like it was vaguely mentioned, barely mentioned. It was, I don't know, it just feels like they're trying to tack a story into this when really it's just about hunting monsters, dude. We're monster hunters. We came to the New World to see what sorts of new monsters we can find, and we hunt them. That's it. We get information on them, and, you know, it doesn't need to be deep. In fact, the story of the first one is trying to understand why the Elder Dragons go to the Elder's Recess in the first place, and you find out that, well, they're not actually supposed to go here. They're supposed to go down into the Rotten Vale and die, because that's how the ecosystem is fed. It's a ecological thing, but something was happening to where the Elder Dragons were being drawn here, and that's because you come to find out that there are even more powerful dragons that, like, eat them to become stronger. And that's where Ned Gigante comes into play, and he's kind of like the first of the elder dragons that you have to fight who eat other elder dragons, the ones that are dying anyway. Him, Teostra, and Kushala Daura. And then after you're done with that, there's a couple more. I think, yes, but Kushala Dara and Veil Hazak. But I want to say Veil Hazak was something that you did after the fact, and Veil Hazak is he's like an effluvian, rotten, undead dragon, and his fight was cool. He's really spooky because he's an undead dragon that's like, he's all rotted and disgusting, and then as the fight goes on, he regenerates himself using the effluvium. It was a cool fight. I liked it a lot. I want to say there was another one, but it's not coming to me. Teostra, Kushala Dara, Ned Gigante, and Veil Hazak. Like, those were the main ones that you had to deal with. And then something happens, you find out where all the life energy from previous dead elder dragons goes, and this was me trying to find where I thought Velkhana would be up there just because a lot of things go up there, so it's me kind of having to backtrack and reapply my buffs because I was wrong in my guess. He's actually in the middle where you first meet Ner Gigante and all those other dudes. They put a lot of dudes there in the middle, but you come to find out that all of the life energy is pooling in this area, and at the very heart of it there's like this cocoon, and out emerges this monster that is made out of pure life energy. Like, that was cool. And then the actual Xeno'jiva fight itself was really cool in my opinion. So overall the base game was awesome, and then Iceborne, it feels like their design philosophy was more about making every single fight really hard, and also let's try to tack on a story that, like, why that focuses on the handler and why her grandpa, blah blah blah, why the first fleet failed, I guess, is kind of where the story went in this one. Whereas in the first one it was more about like why the elder dragons, like why their behavior is the way it is. I guess they had to do something. I think Velkhana looks cool from a design standpoint. It's always just me. Velkhana himself, it wasn't too bad of a fight. I don't know what the final fight against him is going to be like, if he is the final boss of the expansion. I'm guessing he is. Almost died. Again, I don't know if I had my ice res armor on. I probably did, but like, ice res doesn't give you resistance to ice blight. Again, that's 1, 2, 3 attacks, and then he lands, and then that would be your one opportunity to get an attack in. Whenever he's doing the breath attack, that's a good window of opportunity, at least I've found, but you got to be kind of close to him to be able to take advantage of it. Again, I can, get 2 shots in if I'm lucky, give him the old 1-2 punch, back off, wait to see what he's going to do. I got 3 hits that time. But every single fight is just go in, take your hit, retreat, watch what he's doing, don't get hit by his attacks, rinse, repeat. And that was me trying to knock him out of the air, but I don't think I do it a single time. I think that, okay, he's going to be a flying enemy, so I can knock him out of the air, but he's never airborne for any significant amount of time. In this fight, anyways, I haven't seen his second fight yet, obviously, because I didn't finish the game. For one, the videos were hella large. Like, this video was 19 gigs, or the previous video was 19 gigs. I forget which one, but it's like, they are, well, because they're high-quality recordings. High quality, the highest quality I could get, so I will probably delete those after, just because like 19 gigs is a lot. That's like a game's worth of space right there. An older game probably, but still a game's worth of space that could be used with something better. Editing videos, like, videos have so much. And here I thought he was going to hit the wall, but it didn't happen. I think it's because I had the flash pod equipped, so I couldn't. And there I was trying to do it again, but I'm just not fast enough. Like, he's not in the air long enough for me to really make good use of the flash pod. So I think eventually I just abandoned the idea and just go to fighting him regularly and dodging his attacks instead of trying to stun him in the air. But yeah, video editing takes a lot of hard drive space and a lot of time. It's crazy. Who would have thought, huh? Even as I've gotten faster at the process and I have like a whole folder full of the clips that I like and the pictures I like, it's still, for an hour's worth of footage to edit down to something more manageable or less boring, it takes me about 3 hours. And so an hour and 5 minutes of footage will turn into a 47-minute video after all is said and done. Because I tend to ramble a lot. If you haven't noticed already, I'm sure you will now once I bring it to your attention. And so I have to cut out a lot of footage where I'm just talking endlessly and looking in menus because, I don't know, I'm hyper focused on what's going on, I guess. I don't know why I do that. I'm very analytical, so I'll sit there looking at every armor piece thinking, okay, do I want this? Do I want that? What do I want to do? Do I want to get this weapon? That's just how my brain works. And so that gets cut a lot of the time just because it's not entertaining to watch me in menus for 4 minutes. got hit that time. And so, yeah, that takes me about a good 3 hours because I still have to watch an hour's worth of footage slowly. I guess at a third the speed, huh? If it takes me 3 hours to edit 1 hour of footage. Which is why I do my streams the way I do now as well. Yeah, when he enrages, he does like, he doubles up on his attacks. So instead of doing 1 tail stab, he does 2. Instead of doing 1 ice breath, he does 2. Like in consecutive one after the other, consecutive bursts. I don't know how to say it. He'll do 2 bests consecutively is what I should have said, and sometimes he'll do 3 tail stabs, but a lot of the time it's 2 of them. When he's enraged though, you know they're enraged whenever the little icon
excuse me, whenever the little icon is flashing red.
I think they do more damage when they're enraged, and their attacks slightly change, or they do more brutal attacks. His attacks don't really change. He just does more of them. I was able to use the crystal to hit him. I was kind of trying to lure him above the trap so that I could use it, because I have to do that now. Like when I'm fighting Barioth, I have to use shock traps to trap him underneath the rock traps. Like I used both of those down in the cave area. When I was fighting Tigrex, I had to use the tree by the area, the second area he likes to go to make the vine trap, to trap him that way so I can get more hits off. It really forces you to use everything at your disposal to fight some of these enemies. That can kill a lesser man. If something hits your neck at the right angle, you just die. Not Esteban though. But, you know, shake the ground next to him, that's his one weakness. Shake the ground next to him, hit him too hard, ask him to eat something while holding a weapon. Those are the things that he's weak to. But, you know, falling thousands of feet down and getting hit with a giant ice ball to the back of the head. Nah, he's good. No permanent damage. But yeah, this lady's the tracker, and yeah, you see her, and Handler hugs her. It's kind of implied that Handler knows her on a personal level. For me, it makes me think that that's her grandma. Like, that was my thought process. Like, she was kind of into his grandpa. I don't know. Maybe not. Because why else would you hug somebody that you don't really know? So, in my mind, the tracker's like maybe her grandma. Or step grandma or something.
Then and now. At least you left me some homework.
I love homework, except not really. Valkana for sure makes creepy noises. For sure. See, in order to do something like this better, like, we needed to see the tracker, like, right away. She needed to be with us from day 1 as soon as we arrived on the new world. But it's like, you know, it wasn't really about her. It was about the Elder Dragons and us figuring out why they came to the new world in the first place. But this expansion tries to make it to where, like, oh no, there's this other thing going on, and it's like, okay, I hear what you're saying, but, you know, if you wanted any of this to have any weight to it, in my opinion, it doesn't always have to go like this, but you have the tracker from day 1, or you meet the tracker day 1. Maybe she helps you out of some tight spots. Maybe she's your handler, or she helps you do some monster fights. Something to endear you to the character, to the point where you see her, you know, in an avalanche.
Now that everyone's here,
that you care about her condition.
How are you feeling?
And that you care about her journey, trying to figure out what the First Fleet found out, you know.
The chance on our own.
But it's not. It's just all kind of like, here you go, here's a story, we don't really know what to do, so take this, anything we can throw at you.
Gladly, sir. After its, if I may say so, harrowing battle with the A-listers, Valkana suddenly transformed its characters and flew in retreat toward the hinterlands. We still have no idea why it transformed, let alone what reason it had for going to the Elder's recess in the first place. And this is just my personal theory, but I think that Valkana didn't exactly retreat. I think it simply left the Elder's recess after finishing whatever it had gone there to do.
What reason could an elder dragon from an Arctic environment have for traveling to the Everstream in the Elder's Recess?
I believe it might have something to do with the startling metamorphosis of its outer shell.
Whatever the case, we'll need to investigate more.
One last thing, sir. This newly transformed Velkhana seems to be building unbelievable strength. If we don't do something, Celiana could be in danger.
Then there's no time to waste. Field team, return to the hinterlands and locate Velkhana. Provisions, tech.
Excuse me.
We'll provide weapon support from here in Astera. Be swift, but remember, each careful step or each hasty mistake may be the difference between success and failure.
Not life and death, but success and failure. But like I said, that's if you want us to care about these characters, then you have to make them a major part of the story and not as side characters who show up every once in a while and say something mysterious and then walk away. Because you think you can, I know I don't, you know, everybody's different, but you think I'm going to remember some vague thing that Granny said when we first went to the Coral Highlands in the Rotten Vale? No. It's like, what were you looking for again? Well, you're just wondering why the dragons are coming here, right? That's okay. Well, I got, you know, stuff to do. I gotta go hunt stuff, so I'll see you later, Granny. That's pretty much it, you know. That's the end of that video. Excuse me. Sorry. And the last video I have is Shrieking Legiana. Oh, this is the 15 gig one because it's almost an hour long.